I wanted to ask you, because this is something I've always been particularly interested in with anybody I talk to about music, how significant you think that lyricism is, and whether or not you think that, say, a bad lyrics can ruin a good song. Because I've sort of been testing people to see how people feel about this topic.
Yeah, I mean, lyricism is important. I think lyricism is like almost 50% of the success of the song. But in some cases, you gotta think of a bigger picture. Like obviously, Hypa Hypa, a song by Eskimo Callboy, is not gonna have deeper levels and meanings to it. I just think it's very situational. Like you have bands that write more lyrical heavy, deeper music. You have bands that write more like instrumental stuff. Like August Burns Red is great. They have great lyricism, but all of their songs, or most of them, are basically around the same topic of like stand up and fight, motivate.
Yeah.
Like I love August Burns Red, but that's just an observation that I made. But I think lyricism is definitely something you shouldn't just be like uh ignoring while writing music, because even Fit for a King's latest album, it was so inconsistent in that regard, because like you have songs like Louder Voice and Prophet with amazing lyrics, with amazing metaphors and stuff, and then you have songs that are just like, okay, I've heard this a million times already from you guys, why you keep writing about this?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Then you've got God of Fire that has like one line in the whole song.
Annihilation is much worse than that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. Would you say that that record turned out okay?
I think it's okay. I
Yeah.
disliked it at first, but I think it kind of grew on me, and especially like the songs that I mentioned, Prophet, Louder Voice. They're great songs. I think Louder Voice, controversial opinion, is the best song they've ever written, in my personal opinion. It
Yeah.
just sucks that the album wasn't very consistent, and it's
Yeah.
like it's jumping from one thing to another. Like it feels like they just wrote 10 different songs in 10 different like times, and just put it together, as opposed to one like consistent journey, you know. So that's
Yeah.
just my issue with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Chris, do you want to? I don't think you've ever gotten the opportunity. We usually ask most of the bands on our channel when we do these interviews, how important they think lyricism is. And of course, because we're interviewing bands, their answers are consistently, it's very important to have meaningful lyrics. Um, so, Chris, why don't you go ahead? Because I know specifically me and Chris have had quite a few conversations about this. And, I know Chris has specifically wanted to write about this subject. So, Chris, you want to give your 2 cents on lyrics?
Yeah, yeah. So full transparency, Bogdan, part of the reason why I asked you that question is because I'm sort of researching people's thoughts on this for a video essay. Um, because it occurred to me that when I think about music, I think that it's music first, and then the lyrics are, sort of just a supplemental element, right? And that's just the way that I look at it. I've always thought that you should write music first and then write the lyrics. And that's not objectively correct. It's just the way I feel
Yeah.
about things. But despite the fact that I feel very strongly about that, I'm also keenly aware that I consistently will stop listening to a song just because like the lyrics make me cringe, basically. And so I'm hoping the end product will be a video essay, but personally, like I'm going through this process of trying to figure out what is it about like painful lyrics that overrides how good a song can be. Um, and this is going to be a lot of angry people in the comments if this video gets seen, but a good example of this is that I'm not a very big fan of Ronnie Radke in any of his forms. And it's because I personally just don't like the way he presents his feelings in his lyrics. I think he's a good musician. I think he's talented at everything that he does. I basically just don't like the words that he chooses. And for some reason, that overrides my ability to enjoy songs that I think are objectively good, like Popular Monster. I think that's a great song, but there's just something about the words he's choosing to use that just pisses me off. And,
Yeah.
And so that's just kind of my thoughts on it. I don't really have a conclusion yet, because I'm trying to figure out if there's something mistaken in the way that I think about music.
I just thought about this. Usually when I listen to a song, I definitely focus more on the musical side of it, and if I'm interested, I'll check out the lyrics. But I definitely agree with you. If a song is just too cringe, I'm like, man, stop this. As for Ronnie Radke, I mean, I agree he's talented. I agree, like a lot of things he does are great. I do enjoy a lot of like more modern, like of his music, like his current music, I guess.
Mm.
But I would agree that lyrics isn't my favorite part about them. It's more so just the style and the music, but the lyrics is just like,
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's my feeling. And I was trying to choose my words carefully because I'm afraid people are going to think that I think he's a bad rapper or something, which is not the case. I think he's actually a good rapper who chooses the wrong words,
yeah,
if that makes any sense at all.
I think that
Uh,
totally makes sense. Yeah.
yeah.